Hello students, welcome to Archana Miss Classroom. Students, today I'll be continuing 10th Standard English 1.2, an encounter of a special kind. As I explained in last lecture, an encounter of a special kind means an observation of a special kind, or you can say a fight of a special kind. In last lecture, students, we had completed two passage. Now let's begin the third passage. After a hearty lunch, my parents and my younger sister lay down for a afternoon nap, and I settled down with a storybook. So, in margin you can see hearty means sufficient and wholesome lunch. After taking a very sufficient lunch, his parents and younger sister were laying down for an afternoon nap means hota hai what? A very short sleep. Okay? And I settled down with a storybook. And he was sitting with a storybook. The quiet afternoon presented the perfect backdrop for reading an adventure story. And very, perfect atmosphere of afternoon was presenting the perfect backdrop. Backdrop means situation for reading an very exciting adventure, very exciting story. The silence was occasionally broken by the sound of my family snoring, the intermittent chirping of house sparrows, the harsh cawing of a crow, and a shrill call of a kite flying high above the ground. So there was between some disturbance which was broken by the sounds of a family. Snoring means खर्राटे मारते ना, that is called snoring. Okay, and the intermittent chirping means frequent means लगातार. ठीक है, so frequent chirping of a house sparrows, you know the name of a bird, and a harsh, a very cruel cawing of a crow, and a shrill call of a kite, very high and the loud voice kite flying high above the ground. So this was the situation that was disturbing him between. Minutes ticked by. After some minutes, I became deeply absorbed in the book. But after some times, he was totally engaged with his book. Suddenly, I heard a group of a street dogs barking furiously in the distance. So, meanwhile, he heard a group of street dogs. They were barking very, extremely in anger, you can say, in a distance. And I chose to ignore the commotion, thinking that the pack of dogs might have concerned a hapless pig. But I was ignoring, but narrator over here ignoring the noise or confusion, thinking that the pack of dogs, the group of dogs, might have concerned, might have cornered, might have cornered. Okay, so cornered means it is occupied by from four side a hapless pig. Maybe it is unfortunate pig. But soon the barking became louder and more aggressive, and the alarmed coming of a flock of cows added to the cacophony. But very soon the barking became louder. It was very in louder and more aggressive, and the barking was aggressive also. It was in a attacking mode. Okay, and the alarm coming of a flock of crows added to the cacophony, and the flock of crows added loud and harsh noises. So I also heard the disturbance approaching closer, and he imagined that there is some disturbance which was close to him. Curiosity got the better of me. Leaving the book aside, I rushed to the veranda to see what was going on. Curiosity, he was have some question in his mind which was overpowered, or you can say here the meaning you can see defeated him, and leaving the book, keeping aside the book, and he rushed to the veranda, you know, the place before house, to see that was what was going on actually. So let's see next paragraph. I glanced toward the roof of a clubhouse and saw something horrible. He just glared. He saw towards the roof of a clubhouse and saw something which was very horrible, which was very dangerous. A big male langur, apparently the leader of its group, was holding a baby langur in his hands and mercilessly biting it all over with a definite intent to kill. So he glanced a big male langur, apparently, seemingly the leader of its group. Maybe it was the leader of its group, and was holding a baby langur in his hands and mercilessly biting it all over with a definite intent to kill, and very brutally, very cruelly biting. He was biting it all over a definite intent. Just that he decided, or purposely he was, purposely he was biting him to kill him, to kill it. Okay, the helpless mother of the baby and the other lesser member of the langur group were scattered on the roofs of a building nearby, watching the baby being killed. And the helpless mother of the baby and the lesser member of the langur group were scattered. And you can see that the helpless mother, the mother of the baby and some members were also of the langur group were scattered, were, distracted, or you can say they were watching on the roofs of a building nearby, and they were watching the baby being killed, and it was supposed to be killed. I recall the terrible custom in the animal clan, according to which a dominant male usually does not allow another male baby or adult to survive within his group. So he was remembering the terrible, very, furious or awful, terrible, very furious or awful, dreadful, okay, custom in the animal clan. You can see that a large family, okay, a large family, according to that custom, a dominant, a powerful or superior male usually does not allow another male. दैट मीन्स वॉट कि उनके बोला जाता है कि परिवार में, जो लंगूर का परिवार होता है, उनके परिवार में जो कि बहुत पावरफुल होते हैं, उनके रहते हुए कोई और मेल, ठीक है, लंगूर उनकी जगह को नहीं ले सकता, या उनका बेबी जो है, छोटा बेबी, या मतलब उनका जगह नहीं ले सकता, बेबी और एडल्ट, टू सर्वाइव विद इन दिट्स ग्रुप. ओके, अकॉर्डिंग टू विच अ डोमिनेंट मेल यूजुअली डज नॉट अलाउ, वो अलाउ नहीं करते हैं, जो बड़े होते हैं लंगूर, जो पावरफुल सुपीरियर होते हैं, वो अनदर मेल या मेल बेबी को, ठीक है, अनदर मेल बेबी को या एडल्ट को अपने ग्रुप में सुपीरियरिटी के लिए अलाउ नहीं करते. ओके, इट इज़ डिस्क्लोज्ड इन दिस पैसेज. सो विदाउट लूजिंग एनी टाइम आई गेदर्ड a stout stick in one hand and hurled a piece of stone at the marauding langur. Without losing any time, he gathered a stout. So here, stout, heavy, okay, heavy stick in one hand and hurled a piece of stone and threw forcefully, okay, what, a piece of stone at marauding langur. किसके ऊपर फेंक दिया? in a piece of a stone he threw at the marauding langur. Marauding means here searching for something to steal or attack on langur. The langur was so infuriated that it hardly took any notice of my assault Okay, so he was it was very infuriated. He was somewhere very enraged and insane, or to make someone very you can say angry or impatient. He was very insane, and uh, it hardly took any notice of his assault. Assault means attack, but no one saw this attack from the side of narrator. But then I started throwing more stones. He started throwing more and more stones accordingly, and the dogs on their part raised their pitch of cry, and between that some dogs were also started crying. So they raised actually pitch, they raised their sound of cry between. The change circumstances and the sudden unexpected attack from unknown quarter forced the langur to drop the baby from the sloping roof over the veranda. The change circumstances, some circumstances was going to be changed, and the sudden unexpected attack from unknown quarters, and from four sides. When the attacking was going on, it forced langur to drop the baby from the sloping roof. So the attacking mode from four sides bounded, imposed the langur to drop the baby from the sloping roof over the veranda. The baby was listless and appeared to be dead. So the baby was, what was the condition of baby? The baby was listless. It was without any energy. The baby was without any energy, and it was looking like dead, like a dead, as its body started to slide down. But after some times it moves, okay, downwards. So the baby excitement of the pack of dog grew many-fold at the prospect of a good kill and meal. But some other sides, the excitement of a pack of dogs were growing up, because they were expecting that they had a manifold. At the prospect of a manifold means more and more, okay, at the prospect means a future benefit of a good kill and meal. They were expecting that they will be they will have that good meal for future, keeping the dogs at bay with the stick. Okay, so keeping the dog I by the time, 1 second, manifold at the prospect of a good meal, keeping the dogs at the bay with the stick. Okay, so, and I managed to catch hold of the baby langoose tail just as it tipped over the edge of the tiled roof. So he was catching he catched the baby with a stick, and he managed to catch hold of a baby langoor's tail. So he hold the tail of baby langur, and just it tripped over the edge of the tiled roof. When it came up to the tiled roof, the baby appeared inert and lifeless. The baby was powerless. He was just like a faint, and it was indeed a male baby, and the baby was now disclosed. It was a male baby. Okay, by this time my parents and the sister had come and had come out on to the veranda and were witnessing my rescue operation. Some of our neighbors and also gathered in the distance. So meanwhile his parents and sister had come out onto the veranda, and they were watching all this rescue operation. Okay, some of our, and they were Baranda means porch. Okay, as I said, the space before house. Some of our neighbors also gathering over there and they were watching. As narrator said कि उसके जो कुछ neighbors भी थे, they were also watching the scene. I took the baby langur to our backyard and gently led him on the floor inside the poultry coop. So he took baby to the backyard. Backyard means the backward the back garden, and gently led him on the floor inside, and very kindly he let down it on the floor inside the poultry coop. Poultry means domestic fowl, where we you know where we keep. Okay, and coop means the house of a poultries, chickens and all that. His baby was full of deep bite marks and scratches. So there was some mark, there was some biting, hurt or injurious, attacked. You can see the narrator was watching on the baby's body. So blood was oozing, the blood was releasing, okay, overflowing, you can say, from some of the wounds. Wounds means chot, injured. Okay, the baby remained motionless. It was motionless, and my father provided first aid to clean. So his father helped him by providing first aid to clean the wounds and stop the bleedings. And the bleeding was stopped. I was relieved to find out that the baby was breathing, and even though his breaths were shallow. Okay, so he was very happy to see that the breathing was going on. So but the breath was very little depth. So a splash of cold water made the baby start, and after a few shaky stamps he sat up, and a splash after giving some water of or a splashing of cold water made the baby satire. So it was after being splashed by the cold water, baby was moving, and after a few shaky attempts, okay, he was but he was trembling, he was shaking. He sat up, okay, and again he sat up. He was in a state of shock and starting trembling like a leaf in the wind. He was not in a good it was not in a good condition. So obviously he was trembling like a leaf in the wind. His two little twinkling eyes welled up with tears, and he started to sob with a muffled cry. So his beautiful and twinkling eyes were welling up. That means what? It was, you can say, welled up means here the means water was coming out of his eyes with tears, and he started to sob, and he started to you know sob means cry very now noisily. That means what बोलते हैं ना, सिसक के रोना, with a muffled cry. With a muffled means quite an or suppressed sound. Okay, cry just like a human child, जैसे एक इंसान का बच्चा रोता है when after experiencing trauma means a great distress or stress. Okay, or so I offered him a peeled banana. Narrator offered him a peeled banana, which he accepted with its unsteady hands and began taking hesitant bites and started eating it. My attention was fixed on the revival of the baby langur. Suddenly I had an uncanny feeling of being watched. So his attention was fixed on the revival. It was good sign of a baby langur, which was, and you can say, come back. Revival means he was coming back, or he was most of in good condition. So suddenly I had uncanny. So the meaning of uncanny means what? A strange or mysterious. Okay, the meaning is not there, so just write down here, just write down. Okay, uncanny means here strange or mysterious. Hmm? So mysterious sound, mysterious feeling of being watched. So I turned away from the coop and looked up. So he turned away and he just watched up or watched to the baby, and there sat the mother langur on our kitchen roof. He saw his mother who was sitting on a kitchen roof watching every move I made, and he was observing the every moment of the narrator. She simply sat there quietly, and he was sitting over there as if convinced that no harm was being done to her child, and he was unsure that there is a no harm, okay, from the side of human child or to the child of langur. Meanwhile, the baby sensed the presence of his mother and started to sob and cry a little louder. He observed between the baby sensed baby sensed and the presence of his mother, and he saw the presence of his that mother was there, his mother, and started to sob again. He started crying a little louder. I retreat. Okay, I withdraw from there the door of a coop to allow the I withdraw the retreat means I withdraw from the door of coop to allow the mother access to her baby. That I allowed the baby to meet with his mother. Okay, immediately the mother descended on the floor of a coop and picked up the baby in her arm. Immediately the mother descended, moved downwards on the floor of the coop and picked up the baby and take his baby in her arms. She gave the baby a thorough body inspection to check his injuries, and then cuddled him tightly in her bosom. First he observed the body parts. He observed the baby fully and cuddled and held closely, very tightly in her bosom. The baby found great solace, so it was great comfort the baby found in the lap of his mother. Caring arm, the mother sat still with the baby in her lap for a few minutes. So tightly he was keeping the baby on in her bosom lap for a few minutes. It was almost as if she was pondering over her options and trying to figure out how she could keep the baby safe from future assault. But meanwhile, between she was also thinking that think over deeply. Ponder means she was pondering over her options, that how she can save her baby from the future attack or future assault suppression. ओके क्योंकि फ्यूचर में भी सेम चीज़ होने वाला है. मेल बेबी जो वहाँ पे सुपीरियर रहेंगे उसको वो डोमिनेट करेंगे, वो उसको सर्वाइव नहीं करने देंगे. दैट्स वाई हर मदर वॉज वेरी his mother was very disappointed. So for a few seconds the mother langur looked straight into my eyes. So for some minute the mother langur glanced straight to the eyes of writer, to the eyes of narrator, storyteller. Even today I cannot forget. Now here he is sharing very beautiful experience of a conversation between a human being and a animal. I cannot forget that look in her eyes, the look, the sight, which was done by narrator, showing silent gratitude that it was presenting the gratitude. Okay, it was, saying something. He wanted to say something. Okay, gratitude, saying thanks on me for saving her child. I was overwhelmed. I was very happy by the emotion and sentiment that the way she said thanks to me. The feeling of emotion and the sentiment the narrator can view in her eyes, and he was really amazed to see this kind of you know presenting thanks to him. There sat a universal mother holding a stricken child in her lap. It was a universal mother, and he was presenting, and he can the narrator can view the affection, love, emotion, sentiment, or caring of a universal mother. How a animal can be a universal mother. He was sharing the feeling of a universal mother by holding a stricken, to be very hit hard, a suffered child in her lap. By taking the child, by taking her child in her lap, he can feel what was the situation or what was the feeling of a universal mother, that he took the experience of a universal motherhood that day. Then in a flash she jumped with her baby clinging to her belly and reached our kitchen roof. After some times, in a flash, she jumped. Who jumped? A female langur with her baby clinging. The baby was in her belly and reached our kitchen roof. She surveyed the area for the vicious male langur and then leapt away in the direction opposite to the place of the violent encounter. Uh, then she, look over. Surveyed means look over the area for the vicious male, for that evil, for the giant male langur that he would not present over there, and then leapt away. Then he jumped. Leapt means jumped away in the direction opposite to the place of the violent encounter. That violent encounter means the situation of fight, where the fight was held. Okay, she saw the condition, she saw the situation, she saw the place that the male langur should not be present over there. Okay, so the brief meeting with the mother and the baby langur convinced me. So the meeting of the baby langur and the mother, what disclosed to the narrator, that interspecies communication, that the communication or contact of a interspecies and mutual trust is indeed a reality, and should anyone strike the right chord, a relationship hums into action. Hums into action means becomes active. So there he observed the reality of a real contact, of a mutual trust. That's why baby langur was left, or she left its baby langur, uh, male baby langur, to that to the narrator. Okay, so the mother langur showed me that food was not the only means of communication between man and animal. So he made understand the narrator that food is not the means of communication between man and animal. There is some coordination, there is some mutual understanding, there is some, affection, there is some caring, sharing, love, belongingness between an animal and a human being, or a man and animal. But that there were other means of establishing a bond, through trust, compassion. Compassion means sympathy or kindness. They always expect some kindness and, uh, you know uh, sympathy, or the mutual understanding for themselves. Who expect? Animals expect, because they have also, you know they have also emotion somewhere, and they obviously love their master, without any, uh, you can say, profit and all that. So there, in this passage, the narrator is showing the relationship, the good or selfless relationship, which is, or you can say, bounding, a good bounding between human being and animal. Students, you must have seen the relationship, coordination, or cooperation, or mutual understanding between a dog and his master, and its master. So let's see the last paragraph. 55 years have passed since that day. So it was 55 years past, and the narrator now, how many years old? 70 years old. But he still, he yet, okay, fondly remember that encounter of a special kind. He he always remember, he always recall, he always, you know mm, he always recall, he always remember that encounter of a special kind, that observation of a special kind, that how being an animal, the langur, female langur, believed on human being. So it is really some understanding or some trust between a human being and and a animal and an animal. So students, this all about this lesson. So through this lesson, Tapan Mukherjee has beautifully describes the emotion, sentiment, feelings of an animal, and what bounding, what, affection, love, caring, sharing, emotion, sentiment should be between an animal and a human being. And obviously, side by side, he show us the affection, caring, sharing, sentiment, emotion of a mother towards its baby. How female langur baby take its child in her belly and protect it very nicely, and he trusted, and she trusted on Tapan Mukherjee, that a human being who was shaving her child will always care it. Thank you so much.